Genesis 30. Genesis 30 verse 1. Now Rachel, because she had no children, was full of envy of her sister. And she said to Jacob, "If you do not give me children, I will not go on living." Genesis 30 verse 2. But Jacob was angry with Rachel, and said, "Am I in the place of God, who has kept your body from having fruit?" Genesis 30 verse 3. Then she said, "Here is my servant Bilhah. Go in to her, so that she may have a child on my knees, and I may have a family by her." Genesis 30 verse 4. So she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife, and Jacob went in to her. Genesis 30 verse 5. And Bilhah became with child, and gave birth to a son. Genesis 30 verse 6. Then Rachel said, "God has been my judge, and has given ear to my voice, and has given me a son." So he was named Dan. Genesis 30 verse 7. And again Bilhah, Rachel's servant, was with child, and gave birth to a second son. Genesis 30 verse 8. And Rachel said, "I have had a great fight with my sister, and I have overcome her," and she gave the child the name Naphtali. Genesis 30 verse 9. When it was clear to Leah that she would have no more children for a time, she gave Zilpah, her servant, to Jacob as a wife. Genesis 30 verse 10. And Zilpah, Leah's servant, gave birth to a son. Genesis 30 verse 11. And Leah said, "It has gone well for me," and she gave him the name Gad. Genesis 30 verse 12. And Zilpah, Leah's servant, gave birth to a second son. Genesis 30 verse 13. And Leah said, "Happy am I, and all women will give witness to my joy," and she gave him the name Asher. Genesis 30 verse 14. Now at the time of the grain cutting, Reuben saw some love fruits in the field, and took them to his mother Leah. And Rachel said to her, "Let me have some of your son's love fruits." Genesis 30 verse 15. But Leah said to her, "Is it a small thing that you have taken my husband from me? And now would you take my son's love fruits?" Then Rachel said, "You may have him tonight in exchange for your son's love fruits." Genesis 30 verse 16. In the evening, when Jacob came in from the field, Leah went out to him and said, "Tonight you are to come to me, for I have given my son's love fruits as a price for you." And he went in to her that night. Genesis 30 verse 17. And God gave ear to her, and she became with child, and gave Jacob a fifth son. Genesis 30 verse 18. Then Leah said, "God has made payment to me for giving my servant girl to my husband." So she gave her son the name Issachar. Genesis 30 verse 19. And again Leah became with child, and she gave Jacob a sixth son. Genesis 30 verse 20. And she said, "God has given me a good bride price. Now at last will I have my husband living with me, for I have given him 6 sons. And she gave him the name Zebulun. Genesis 30 verse 21. After that she had a daughter, to whom she gave the name Dinah. Genesis 30 verse 22. Then God gave thought to Rachel, and hearing her prayer he made her fertile. Genesis 30 verse 23. And she was with child, and gave birth to a son. And she said, "God has taken away my shame." Genesis 30 verse 24. And she gave him the name Joseph, saying, "May the Lord give me another son." Genesis 30 verse 25. Now after the birth of Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Let me go away to my place and my country." Genesis 30 verse 26. "Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have been your servant, and let me go, for you have knowledge of all the work I have done for you." Genesis 30 verse 27. And Laban said, "If you will let me say so, do not go away, for I have seen by the signs that the Lord has been good to me because of you." Genesis 30 verse 28. "Say then what your payment is to be, and I will give it." Genesis 30 verse 29. Then Jacob said, "You have seen what I have done for you, and how your cattle have done well under my care." Genesis 30 verse 30. "For before I came you had little, and it has been greatly increased, and the Lord has given you a blessing in everything I have done. But when am I to do something for my family?" Genesis 30 verse 31. And Laban said, "What am I to give you?" And Jacob said, "Do not give me anything, but I will again take up the care of your flock if you will only do this for me." Genesis 30 verse 32. "Let me go through all your flock today, taking out from among them all the sheep, which are marked or colored or black, and all the marked or colored goats. These will be my payment. Genesis 30 verse 33, and so you will be able to put my honor to the test in time to come. If you see among my flocks any goats which are not marked or colored, or any sheep which is not black, you may take me for a thief. Genesis 30 verse 34, and Laban said, Let it be as you say. Genesis 30 verse 35, so that day he took all the he-goats which were banded or colored, and all the she-goats which were marked or colored or had white marks, and all the black sheep, and gave them into the care of his sons. Genesis 30 verse 36, and sent them 3 days' journey away, and Jacob took care of the rest of Laban's flock. Genesis 30 verse 37, then Jacob took young branches of trees, cutting off the skin so that the white wood was seen in bands. Genesis 30 verse 38, and he put the banded sticks in the drinking places where the flock came to get water, and they became with young when they came to the water. Genesis 30 verse 39, and because of this, the flock gave birth to young which were marked with bands of color. Genesis 30 verse 40, these lambs Jacob kept separate, and he put his flock in a place by themselves, and not with Laban's flock. Genesis 30 verse 41, and whenever the stronger ones of the flock became with young, Jacob put the sticks in front of them in the drinking places, so that they might become with young when they saw the sticks. Genesis 30 verse 42, but when the flocks were feeble, he did not put the sticks before them, so that the feebler flocks were Laban's and the stronger were Jacob's. Genesis 30 verse 43, so Jacob's wealth was greatly increased. He had great flocks and women servants, and men servants and camels and asses.